Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Obviously, not at home, but hey, it doesn't matter. We're still going to cover the news here and what's going on with these weasels. We are not going to let them off the hook. So, the Russians used drones to attack another port at the border between Romania and Ukraine, the port of Izmail. I will use two articles, mainly one, and then two maps. The problem is with attacking that port, the grain prices jumped. So a lot of people profited and made a lot of money, I'm guessing, and will make a lot of money, are making a lot of money, taking advantage of this situation. Okay, let's see this. Associated Press. Russian drone strikes hit Ukrainian port on Romania border that is key to grain exports. Russian drones on Wednesday hit a Ukrainian port city along the border with NATO member Romania. They always say that, so we know that when NATO is going to attack is because of these attacks, causing significant damage and a huge fire at the facilities that are key to Ukrainian grain exports following the end of a deal with Russia that allowed Ukrainian shipments to world markets. Since leaving the deal, Okay, let's see. It says the head of the Ukrainian president's office, Andriy Yermak, one of the four little pigs, and those are Yermak, Reznikov, Zhmyhal, and Zelensky, said that the city of Izmail was hit in the strikes. Izmail is on the Danube River that forms part of the Ukraine-Romania border. So let's see where that is, right here. I have another one, so don't panic. Here is the Black Sea. Here is Romania. The Danube River goes like this, comes from there. Blah, 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 blah. This is Poland. This is Poland. Sorry, Bulgaria. Not Poland yet. So watch it, my Bulgarian friends. Maybe the Poles have some. They're gonna ask, hey, this is our territory as well. So here is going like this. The Danube River goes here, so crosses Romania, cuts it in two, and goes like this and flows into the Black Sea. So here it is, Izmail. Now the Russians also hit, if you remember, Reni right here at the border where the Danube goes into Romania. So now they hit Izmail, another port. Here is the main artery for the shipments, for the how do you call it, the Danube navigation. So let's go to the other map, which is clearer, so you know where who's who, what's what. Romania here, Moldova here, this is Ukraine, this is Odessa, and this is the Danube River right here. So Izmail is right here. This is Izmail, and this is Reni, where it was hit before. These are two big Romanian towns, cities, and they go like here, so first they hit here, and the second they hit here. You know what's strange? How could these Russians be so precise in destroying these grain things when it fits the Ukrainian narrative, but sometimes they're so stupid and just make mistakes. I covered this in many of my videos before, where I made a point that these guys pick and choose when the Russian missiles are accurate and when they're not accurate. So in this case, they were very accurate because it made sense for these guys to report that, hey, they attacked our grain. They were right over there pointing right on that. Well, I don't believe this weasel move. But nevertheless, let's go to the article coming from the Ukrainska Pravda, which is more detailed about and gives you numbers as well. So here it is, Ukrainska Pravda, August 2nd, 2023. Russia's overnight attack on Izmail port causes jump in food prices worldwide, Reuters reported. Reuters being this weasel and this Associated Press. What the hell am I talking about? Let's go back. I thought it was the same thing, but to me at least. Wheat prices on the Chicago Stock Exchange jumped 6.5% after the Russian attack on the port of Izmail on the night of 1 to 2 August. So, and I'm quoting, Chicago wheat prices jumped 4% following Wednesday attack and were still up around 2.5% later in the morning, with traders worried anew about a hit to global supplies from driving Ukraine, one of the world's top exporters of the market and quote the media rights. I covered this because you see they say, well, Ukraine global supplies, right? I covered an article coming from the Russians with the data from the United Nations. Now, I use that data. You can go and verify if you want. This is what those weasels were claiming based on the data they provided. And they said it was from United Nations. You can check it out. Maybe 3 days ago, I made that video, which is about 50,000 videos back. You know. So they said that actually this is how much grain goes out of Ukraine. And it goes, said 38% goes to the European Union, the global market. So you Crimea River, okay, when they say, well, poor Africans or poor Asians or poor South Americans or poor people from Antarctica or the North Pole or from the moon, okay? And then next ones are the Turks. The Turks are the second one, the 30%. So 38 goes to European Union, 30% goes to Turkey, about 20% goes to China, and you calculate the rest where that goes. So when these guys are crying the world's market, it's basically three. European Union, it's a lot of countries over there. Yeah, okay, I understand that. There are people too, right? And then you have China, and then you have Turkey. So, and then Africa, according to the data provided by the Russians from the United Nations, they said 2%, 2% of all that grain coming from Ukraine goes to, as they called it, global south, referring to Africa. So when you hear, the Africans are starving, well, it's 2% goes over there from Ukraine. And on top of that, Russia said, we will provide Africa with free grain for a few months. Now you tell me. Anyway, they take over that market over there. How these guys took over Russia's oil and gas market in Europe. Can they do that? You know how they were pushed by the Americans out? And not only by the Americans. In Europe, because the Americans cannot dictate in Europe. So let's see what else these weasels are saying here. Just so you know, when they say, hit to the global supplies, that means European Union 38%. 30% Turkey, 20% China, and the rest peanuts. The agency cited an industry source who confirmed that the level of damage at the port of Ismail was serious. That means they were, how should I put it, efficient somehow? How these guys are so efficient? Anyway, man, these are lying. All of them are lying, just so you know. Analysts also reported that grain exports from Ukraine they decreased by 40% for the month compared to June as of 1st of August due to the breakdown of the grain deal, the agency says. Russia's attack on Ismail means that the Kremlin is, I'm quoting, ramping up its use of force to reimpose maritime blockade of Ukraine. Yeah, it's exactly what happened. What are you gonna do? Keep sucking. The Danube Port. And why am I saying this? From what the Russians are saying, and not only, the grain deal was twofold. One, the one that the Ukrainians can clearly sell their grain, and the Russians will not destroy any vessel in the Black Sea. And the other one was that the Russians were also allowed to sell their grain, fertilizer, and some of their banks will be back on SWIFT, and some sanctions will be off for the grain deliveries. The Russians said, well, for a year you guys did not honor your side of the deal or your part of the deal, that therefore we're not gonna honor the other one. And they pulled the plug. Poof! And now everybody's, oy vey. Well, like you do a bill, I'm gonna pay this for this car, I give you the money, I wait a year and don't give me the car. What am I supposed to do? Go and get my money back or pay you a visit at home and talk to you in front of the fireplace with some wine and some chocolate. Let's go back to these whistles again. The Danube Port, thanks to NATO member Romania, has served as the main alternative route from Ukraine for grain exports since Russia resumed the de facto blockade of Ukraine's Black Sea port in mid-July. However, Russia has been relentlessly attacking Ukraine's agriculture and port infrastructure for over 2 weeks after refusing to extend the deal that lifted its wartime blockade of Ukrainian ports last year. And they say Russian drones struck Ukraine Danube ports in the end of July, destroying a grain storage point. Ukrainian officials said Moscow had struck 26 port facilities, 5 civilian ships, and 180,000 tons of grain in 9 days of strikes since Russia's withdrawal from the grain deal. Moscow says it will consider ships bound for Ukrainian seaports as potential military targets. The same the Ukrainians said. So, two wrongs don't make a right, baby doll. Extra. The Croatian, I think it was the Croatian, they said that they will open their ports to the Ukrainian grain through the Adriatic Sea. So that means that, I know the Romanians said they will use the aviation. I don't know who's aviation, but nevertheless, I know Romania has a big aviation. But hey, since you're under the occupation of the good guys that keep in you, maybe you get a big aviation. Not under your control. Anyway, they're thinking of transferring this grain and going to the Adriatic Sea, and then from there the Mediterranean. So they cut the Bosphorus Strait and Dardanelles instead of going through, I was about to say McNamara, from Marmara Sea, going down, it's into the Atlantic through the Mediterranean Sea. These guys are going to cut through the Balkans. And then also the Poles said, and I think the Latvians also said, it was the Latvians, they say, yeah, you can use our ports, but we got to go through Poland. And remember, when the first, the Russians, did this blockade almost a year ago, more than a year ago, there were about seven options offered to the Ukrainians, how they can send their grain, and the Ukrainians said no, the only one we want is through this route. All the other ones were through Poland, through Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, all that. No, they said no. Okay, you got this one, now you stop. These guys said we're going to take that away. Now you got the other 7 options. You can't be a poor person and let's say I pick you from the street over there, let's say you're homeless, I bring you in my house and I cook you a steak. And then you say that the steak is like, you know what? And the wine was not, get up. Oh, then, you get what you get. What I get, you get. And you're not in a position of having any standards if you are on the street homeless. Okay? The same with the Ukrainians. They think they have standards. No, I don't want that. I want to sell my grain only by that route. And everybody else should listen to me. Why? You're going to be the biggest loser if everybody say, you know what, you go back in the street. What are you going to do? Stay there and jerk off? Not even that. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. And they will keep destroying this. It seems like very efficiently somehow. Again, pay attention to that one. When they talk about the rate of accuracy of the Russian missiles, it's like, oh my God, they're so wrong. I covered that in previous videos, and all of a sudden they're so good when it fits their interest and their little blah 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 blah. I mean, destruction and destructions that should not have started. Why? I covered that many times. No Minsk agreements, overthrowing of a legitimate government in 2014, NATO expansions. Yes, that's all reasons, besides others, that trigger this bullshit. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just like that.